going back to the reunion for a second. So one of the other people I wanted to pick up on, because you talked about Scarlett, and I assumed you two obviously are cool now. The other person I
Yeah.
was kind of curious about was Tia, because obviously it's a little bit different because you didn't necessarily have a relationship with Tia directly from Drag Race, but you did with her ex Pixie Polite, who was on your season, and you and
Yeah.
Pixie had some moments, on your original season. And at the reunion, I got the impression because Tia said they don't get on, like my ex and Jonbers don't get on, and like I'm wary of Jonbers because of that. I got the impression that maybe there was some tension between you two. So I was just wondering if you can talk about that.
If I'm really honest, it's kind of the one thing that I don't want to talk about because it's been brought up so many times, and genuine, I can genuinely say there is genuine no problem at all. I am friends with like Tia. Tia was one of the most supportive people on me when I was on four, and the reason why I don't want to bring it up anymore is because there really isn't anything to say. We all Pixie and I are very supportive of each other, and we do text each other. Pixie is one of the people that will reach out, all the time, as Tia is. I respect them both as people and performers. Genuinely, I like it's just one of those things that like, you know what? It's one of those things of there was tension at a time because you know what? Guess what? Life it happens. You know what I mean? Sometimes everybody isn't going to get on, whether somebody's in the right frame of mind or not. It could have been me, it could have been them. But you move on and you have to, but the whole thing of like it being, and I know you have to ask because obviously, it is one of those things, but it's really just not a thing. Like we're all, I've seen Tia not that long ago actually at the Work the World. And when we do see each other, it's so lovely. You know what I mean? And Pixie is one of the ones that in our group chat, and we still have a season four group chat, and Pixie is very active about making sure that we like saying, should we all go for lunch? Is anybody coming to London? The London girls, should we get together? Or like whoever's in town, you know? So genuinely, absolutely no beef at all. Also, we're all in our 30s. You know what I mean? There's no time for that. There's no time for petty nonsense anymore. It's all drag. It's all drag.
That's what I was kind of curious about because I assumed you two are cool now because I've
Yeah.
interviewed Pixie, and Tia was also kind of there, like she was staying with Pixie at the time, so she was also sort of in the interview. They're both, I love them both, they're so fun. So I always assumed that maybe those emotions and that like tension, whatever you want to call it, was true at that specific point in time, but it wasn't something that you
Yeah.
take into your personal life, like for the rest of your life. One of the
For
things
those
I wanted to ask about, though, to do with those two, because it's another thing I think a lot of some people in the questions for you asked about this. I wanted to ask you.
uh,
So, back when you were on season four, your original season, at the crowning event, which you had your iconic screaming, moment, which was so fun.
yeah. Woo!
Danny Beard.
There was this huge rumor that came about that apparently Pixie made you cry, not in
No,
that
not
moment,
true.
but which I assumed. I
I did
actually,
cry. I'll clear this up. No problem at all. I did cry and I have a complete breakdown because it was not Pixie. It was a few different people, but they knew what they were doing, and also it was one of the hosts as well who was not a very good host and was making fun of me while I was answering questions. And I did not appreciate it at all. And I just felt in that moment, I was like, this is a very celebratory moment. And yeah, it was very upsetting. I was just like, I couldn't, I couldn't, I just got, I am genuinely a very emotional person. And I was just completely upset. There was a few people in the audience, participants of Drag Race UK, from my season, and I know it was not Pixie, and it was to do with the host asking, basically making fun of the way that I speak.
oh yeah, because I asked because I interviewed Pixie right after the season came out, like quite soon
Yeah,
after,
I
and it
remember it.
was
Yeah,
and she showed a text message from you where it was like, no, it wasn't Pixie, it was other people, particularly one. So I was,
yeah.
I, Can you say who the one is?
No, I don't because they're so irrelevant right now. So
Oh, so is it someone, as in when you say irrelevant, is this someone from your cast who you genuinely still don't get on with, or is this
it's
you
not about
clear?
getting on. It's just it's about moving on. Like
Right,
that's who
okay.
that person wants to be. That's their choice. I don't have space for people like that. Like I would never act like that towards somebody else. And but it wasn't the first time of their behavior. And it certainly it hasn't been the last from what I've seen online. Yeah, there's your tea. There's your tea.
Was it,
Whatever, you know what I mean?
so am I right in thinking then that there's at least one person maybe on your cast that you don't get on with, but you get on with everyone else? Or is it very much
Oh,
like,
listen, no, no, no. I will always be like, I have gracious in myself that if we were all in a room, I can get on with everybody, but I certainly don't have to spend time with you.
that's fair. I
You know
mean,
what I mean?
they're people that you work with. It's like summer camp. You're not always friends with people that you
Yeah,
work with at summer camp. So,
exactly.
you know.
Exactly. It's just, some people have their way of listen, everyone's different. Everyone is different and everyone has their own ways. It's just I would never be like that. Like that's just it's just not it's not my kind of people.
Well, I'm sure there'll be wild
And
speculation as to who
also,
you're speaking about. So, you know.
yeah, people can do whatever they want. I'm also, as Donna Preston said in Celebrity Big Brother, it's not that deep. It's not that deep.
No, it's true. I think we would just love a bit of tea, but it's also interesting hearing about these back because I remember when I saw this rumor about Pixie, and I was like, that doesn't seem right. And I'm sure I was like thinking, I'm sure there was something more to it than that. And that's kind of what Pixie said. So to me,
Yeah,
it was important that Pixie had that. Like when I talked to her on the interview, I put that clip up straight away to kind of clarify that that wasn't true.
yeah. I think people would be surprised. It wasn't just one person, by the way, it was a few. And I think people would be very surprised about one of the people that was involved in it. And not such a darling, not such a little darling.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure not. Yeah, especially. I'm assuming also was alcohol consumed at this event as well. So,
Oh, everybody was drunk. Everybody was drunk. Everybody was drunk.
well,
Like this is the thing. Like everyone kept on putting and saying that I was drunk. I'm like, we were all drunk. Everyone was drunk. There was not one person that wasn't drunk.
I think that's what kind of what Pixie said as well. You know, Pixie was like, at these events, people have a drink and maybe they say things they wouldn't normally say, or people.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
but the other thing is that like there also has to be a reason why I would trigger to be crying. You know what I mean? Like, there's and also by the way, this as I've said, it wasn't just coming from the contestants. That was also coming from the host. Because we also came like afterwards we came off stage and we were all a bit like, what was that about? Why was it like to make fun of my accent? I don't think so.
yeah, that's weird. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Well, thank you for clarifying because that was one of the things I knew people were going to ask about it. So I thought it'd be
Yeah.
good for you to have a platform to be like, let's clarify that because I'm sure people
Yeah,
still
for
care.
sure. Yeah.
All these
Yeah,
years
because I
later.
do, I mean, like, listen, I'm not one to like, as everyone know, I'm not one to like get on social media and chat about everything. But yeah, no, I just like, yeah, it's nice to get that clear out of the way. Like, but also it's so in the past. You know what I mean? It's not so, I certainly don't go to sleep thinking about it, and I certainly don't wake up thinking about it. Like, it's something that is so far away from me.
Well, while we're talking about things of clearing things up, there was one other like sort of point I thought let's put it in now so we can talk about it. So this
Hmm.
is actually nothing necessarily to do with Drag Race. This is to do with you, sort of you and your drag, I suppose.
Uh-huh.
So in slightly more recent years, I think you've been on a bit more of like kind of transformation fitness journey, but also your makeup and like your face has changed quite a bit, as I'm sure people can see between your season and now. So there was a huge amount of speculation at one point because there was this one photo that you posted where you looked very different. And I think people accused you of using filters or having cosmetic surgery. And then
The
you,
one was I the one that I was out of drag.
yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
And
I remember.